Welcome, my name is Elena Maganto. I'm gonna be introducing you today, if you are not really familiar with hemp and CBD oil, CBD in general, what is hemp, and especially what is NanoEnhanced hemp oil. So I wanna tell you a little bit about myself. You already know me. I'm from Spain. That's where I did all my training. I did my training in molecular biology and biochemistry because I was always curious about what is going on in our body and how do we react against any targets, any agents coming from outside. So it's why I did my master in biochemistry, and then I did my PhD in molecular biology and in inflammation and related diseases. So that what brought me to United States, continuing my education. I moved to Boston, where I did my postdoctoral training at Harvard Medical School. So I was studying how high cholesterol diet or a high fat diet is increasing inflammation and atherosclerosis. So I was working with food and making changes in diet in order to revert the disease. But then in the process of learning what did I really wanted to do with my life, I had kind of like a hole inside me. Like, I'm in academia, I do really love what I do. I do love science, and I still do love science and read a lot, but I could feel I was not really helping anybody. Like, I wanted to see the results faster. I didn't want to write an article and then continue just doing research. I wanted to do something else and see the results. So in that pathway, I ended up in pharmaceutical industry. I was fortunate to be there to see a lot of things from inside, but I also learned about a lot of things, like for example, how about drug interactions or supplements interactions, which is also really important if you are taking, for example, CBD. My mother had fibromyalgia for a long time, pain all over the body, and she was taking all kind of medications. But at some point, she went to a doctor who was treating her gut and was treating her emotionally. So after 3 years, she was fibromyalgia free, and that was the eye opening for me. So I started getting more involved in nutrition, and I moved to prevention. So now I have my own practice, and I work with functional medicine, and I work with people who suffer from all kind of disorders and diseases related to digestive distress and inflammation. And as probably many of you know, all disease begins in the gut because it's the second brain of the body. So almost everything comes from there. But in the path of using different techniques with my clients who suffer from the most simple heartburn or reflux to the most complex autoimmune condition, I use a lot of tools, which are food, of course, changes in food and lifestyle, because how food interact with our body, that's functional medicine, that's the way it's gonna heal our body. But I also use a lot of different type of supplements and essential oils, different tools. So as probably many of you here know, I'm really picky. I'm really picky with labels. I'm really picky with labels for food and labels for supplements as well. So I try to always do my research and understand how they work. And then if I use them with myself, and then I use them with my clients. So in that journey is how I knew about cannabidiol for a long time based on the research, but now it's a field that is blowing in the market. There's more and more research coming over and over, and it's blowing somehow. But as everything, is really important to learn which kind of oils we take, because many of them we spend a lot of money, and this oil is not cheap. We spend a lot of money and we don't absorb probably more than 10% of the oil that we are taking. So it's why it's important to learn which ones. But a lot of people think that when they hear the word hemp, they put hemp equal marijuana, that's an enemy. And I want you also to understand, because still people think like that not all hemp is made equal, and we don't have to see hemp as an enemy, and that's what I'm trying to explain to you. So there are different kinds of hemp. we have to really distinguish between the industrial hemp compared to the marijuana. So both are cannabis sativa, that's the species of the plant, but there are different variations between the industrial hemp. You even see that the shape is different, the phenotype of the plant is totally different. So there's different variations between the industrial and the marijuana. This has 60 different components that are called cannabinoids. Those cannabinoids are doing a lot of effects in our body, but there are two major cannabinoids that are influencing our health, which is delta 9 tetrahydrocannabinoid, which is THC, that's how a lot of people hear that, or cannabidiol, which is CBD. Those are the major two cannabinoids that are influencing our body. So THC, probably many of you heard, is the one that has a psychoactive effect compared to CBD, which is non-psychoactive. I will go more in detail. So what the industry has been doing is, depending on the purpose, that's the plant that they are doing. So there are a lot of people breeding the plants in order to get different variations of the plants. So if they have a health component, they are breathing out THC, trying to breathe up CBD. If they want to use it more for getting high or that kind of psychoactive effect that a lot of people like, they are breathing out CBD and they are breathing up THC. It's why there are different strains of plants with more higher concentration in CBD or higher concentration in THC. That is the difference. So industrial hemp has high CBD, lower THC. And usually the FDA to pass it as an industrial hemp and legal is 0.3% of THC. That is the psychoactive agent. However, the marijuana has 10% or higher. Right? That's the main difference. Also, the way we use the marijuana or hemp is totally different. The way people use marijuana is usually to get high. And the different ways to use it is pot, hashish, oils, putting it in brownies, in cookies, and things like that. Right? Different ways to get that getting high effect. But then the way we can use industrial hemp is huge because it has been used for making paper, parts of the cars, clothes, protein for our smoothies, like for a lot of things, because we don't have the psychoactive agent. It's really, really low. We have more of the beneficial components of them. So CBD, which is the medicinal part, could come from some people isolated from marijuana or some people isolated from hemp. That's also a difference when you buy CBD oil. But then the CBD that is coming from marijuana is only legal in the states where it's legal to consume marijuana, like Colorado, for example. But industrial hemp is all legal in 50 states because it's really low in THC. That's also one of the main differences between the two. Here I wanted to show you the example for the hemp protein. Like a lot of people are scared of hemp, but we buy hemp hearts, hemp seeds, hemp powder. That is a really rich source of protein for our body. 2 tablespoons of hemp hearts or hemp protein is already 5 grams of protein. It's 5 grams. So of the hemp heart itself. So it's as rich as eating a steak. But a lot of people don't see it like that. So, and it's causing much less trouble that could cause whey protein, for example, when you add it in the smoothie, because a lot of people are not able to digest whey protein, but hemp protein is really digestible. Because when you have gut inflammation, there are certain proteins that are really complex and difficult to digest, and some of them are casein from milk or whey protein from milk. So that could be causing more inflammation in your gut and much more trouble, toxin buildup and many other related disorders. However, hemp doesn't have any traces of other molecules that could cause any digestive issues itself, unless you have a hemp allergy. That's a totally different story. Hemp, at the same time, is not only giving you protein, it's also really rich in omega 3, omega 6, omega 9, which is a really rich unsaturated fat. It's a fatty acid, unsaturated fat, which is anti-inflammatory. Everybody should be taking at least omega 3 if they are not taking any hemp as a dietary supplement. Omega 3 as an anti-inflammatory supplement. I take it every morning. But whey protein doesn't have any fatty acids. So is just one of the big factors that we can find in hemp that we don't find in other type of proteins. So as I said, there are 60 different components of in the cannabis that are cannabinoids, and they are included in these 6 groups, which is the CBG, CBN, THC, THCA, V, or CBD. So these different cannabinoids have a different effect in your body, and these are the different effects that they are involved in. Calming effects, pain relief, sedation, anti-inflammatory, psychoactive, like I said for the THC, anti-cancer agent, increased appetite or decreased appetite depending on the cannabinoid, and treat nausea, among many others. So depending on the cannabinoid, that is what is causing in your body. So for example, THC has calming effect, is why when some people are smoking marijuana, they feel the calming effect, and is pain relief, but has the psychoactive effect, and you may get hallucinations and other problems. However, CBD has the same calming effect, has also anti-cancer properties, can increase a little bit the appetite. So I know a lot of people tell me when they start taking the hemp oil, is it possible that I'm getting more hungry? I'm eating all the time because I'm really hungry. Yeah. So yeah, that's one of the side effects that CBD can have, that is increasing appetite, but it's not really like a really harmful side effect unless you start snacking every hour. Maybe you have to reduce the dose for that. And it's anti-inflammatory, which is one of the main effects for the CBD. The 2 major cannabinoids that I said, THC, CBD, this is the structure. They have a really similar structure, but just a little change is what is making one psychoactive or non-psychoactive. So THC psychoactive binds to the receptor CB1 and CB2 in our body as an agonist. So what is an agonist and an antagonist? Just simple way to know this. So in our body in all cells we have receptors. That's how everything works. We have food with proteins that come and bind some receptors, which is another protein or lipid, in the surface of the cells. So we may have these receptors in cells. So there are certain components that are agonists. They adjust perfectly to that receptor and they activate a response in our cells. But we may have other components which are called antagonists, that whenever they bind, they are blocking the response in our cells. That is the difference between an agonist or an antagonist. Antagonist is inducing a response. Antagonist is blocking the response in our cells. So THC binds perfectly, has a really strong affinity for CB1 and CB2 receptors, and it's an agonist, so it's inducing certain responses. Like for example, we said calming feeling or the psychoactive effect. Then we have CBD. CBD is non-psychoactive. It has a weak affinity for CB1 and CB2, but it's still an agonist, but really weak. However, why CBD is important in the presence of THC is because the way CBD is decreasing the psychoactive effect of THC is because if we have CB1 here and CB2 here. If THC is coming, but we also have CBD. CBD is gonna take THC from here into CBD2, and that is what is decreasing the psychoactive effect. CBD is able to decrease the psychoactive effect of THC, just transferring from the binding from CB1 into CB2. That is how CBD works with the THC. But if you have a lot of THC, you still can get some psychoactive effect. So we have 3 different types of cannabinoids. So we have synthetic cannabinoids, which are designed in a lab. They are artificial. We have phytocannabinoids, which are coming from plants. And we have endocannabinoids. Endo means from inside the body. Our body is able to produce cannabinoids, and they are called endocannabinoids. We don't have to see just cannabinoids, the ones that are coming from the plant, from the hemp. We are able to produce it. The endocannabinoid system is 600 million years old in all vertebrates. 600 million years old in all vertebrates, but is now when it's getting more and more popular, the research, and a lot of studies are coming out, and all these research are showing how all this biochemistry, all those signals are a really powerful therapeutic target right now, studying the endocannabinoid system. And one of the examples is like, did you know that breast milk has cannabinoids? Breast milk has cannabinoids.
So the kids just fall sound asleep.
So yeah, it's helping them, maybe the calming feeling, right? But it's helping them to induce the sucking, which is why they say, oh, they don't, like they don't breastfeed, or they do, like the cannabinoids are helping inducing the sucking. But it's also transferring, the cannabinoids are defending against diseases, those kids, and also for making the breastfeeding more regular, and just making that more regular. So that's how the cannabinoids in our breast milk work. So yeah, we have a lot of cannabinoids. So the cannabinoids that we find in our body, the THC, CBD, CBN, and these cannabinoids bind perfectly to the CBD or the CB2. So the way these cannabinoids work is because they are neuromodulators. They regulate the endocrine system, the reproductive system, the immune system, the nervous system, the digestive system, and the muscular system. 6 different systems, almost all of them, in our body. They are neuromodulators. So that's why in this cartoon you can see, depending on the color, where are the CBs located, which are the receptor. CB1 receptor is mainly located in the brain, in nerve cells. They're located in the nerve, and those are all the different parts of the brain where the CB1 is located. But we can also find it in certain organs in the periphery, like brain, lungs, vasculature, the GI tract. There's a lot of it. CB2 receptor is mostly found in bones, skin, but also the immune system is really predominant in the immune system. And also both of them can coexist in different organs. But besides binding to CB1 and CB2, cannabinoids are able to bind to other different receptors in our body in the endocannabinoid system. And here I put some examples. Some of the receptors are the ligand-gated ion channels, which affect metabolism. When the cannabinoids bind these receptors, it's affecting our metabolism. Other receptors are the TRPVs, which are really similar to the capsaicin that we find in peppers. So capsaicin is anti-inflammatory, and when you have a headache, you massage with capsaicin in your forehead, and it's anti-inflammatory. It's decreasing inflammation in the vasculature and decreasing the headache. So the cannabinoids, when they bind to these receptors, they have a really similar anti-inflammatory response. Other receptors are the ion channels, the regulation of ion channels like calcium, potassium, or sodium has been involved in seizures when the cannabinoids are not able to bind these receptors, when that binding is blocked. And we have other receptors, G protein receptors or G protein coupled receptors, which are involved in cancer when there is any problem with them. So as you can see, the endocannabinoid system is really complex. It binds to CB1, CB2, but many other receptors in our body, and we could tell that it's involved in all systems in our body. So it's why there is more and more research, because until now, people didn't really even think about the endocannabinoid system as something important to regulate health and prevent diseases for a regular balance in our body. Here is an example of one of the endocannabinoids, which we also find in chocolate. Is why chocolate makes us feel so good, right? When we take it, that is anandamide. So anandamide is one of the endocannabinoids. It was the first endogenous cannabinoid identified in a university in Israel. During meditation, anandamide is what is helping us inducing a calming feeling. We get the feeling of pleasure, or calming when you have anxiety because you have a craving for sugar. You take chocolate, that's calming with that effect. And also some runners say that they have like this runner high after running, and it's because of the effect of the anandamide after exercise. So that was one of the first endocannabinoids that were discovered in the endocannabinoid system. So what is important is that whenever something is going to happen in the endocannabinoid system, when we get dysregulation, imbalance, then we can end up with serious disorders or diseases. And here I have just a couple of simple examples. So we have rimonabant, is a drug that they designed to block obesity. So during the trial with this drug, they saw that it was also blocking CB1 receptor. So those people were less hungry and they lost weight, but they also started having feelings of depression and suicidal thoughts because the drug was blocking the CB1 receptor. So then the endocannabinoids that are binding to the CB1 receptor couldn't do it anymore. So then they started having imbalance and these side effects of the medication. And then another really common that I would say is 99% of the population is stress. Because stress is the main causes of diseases right now. So stress and continuous release of cortisol decreases endocannabinoids. It's not blocking the binding to the receptor. It's decreasing the production of endocannabinoids. So your system, your whole body is depleting. It's why if you put back cannabinoid like CBD, the cannabidiol mostly, you can start feeling certain effect of relaxation, decreasing anxiety that comes from adrenal fatigue caused by stress and cortisol. Right, so these are two examples of how important is the endocannabinoid system, and if we end up with dysregulation, we can end up with really serious problems. So these are some of the problems that we can have, from the most simple sleep problem to major Alzheimer, sclerosis, any kind of neuropathy, ALS, Huntington's disease, Parkinson, hypertension, atherosclerosis, diabetes, liver, kidney disease, arthritis, cancer, skin problems, all kind of GI problems. There's a lot of studies with Crohn's disease, menstrual cramping, which I relate to that. When I had my PMS and I had a lot of cramping, I took the hemp oil and within minutes the pain disappeared. So that helped me a lot with that. Anxiety, ADD, PTSD, OCD, all kind of brain disorders, migraines, depression, seizures, epilepsy. There's a lot of things that are related to imbalanced endocannabinoid system. This is a really good, I don't know if you can see here, but I could give it to you after. So there is all kind of studies, like you can write CBD oil and in third parties like Google, but you can go more specific to PubMed, which is a really good source to get all kind of research articles for everything. And you can just type CBD or cannabidiol or hemp and the disorder, and you get already a lot of research in there. And this is also a really good website. It's a research library to get a lot of good studies about it. But I have to say, I'm not coming here to diagnose, do any kind of medical claims. I say that hemp is a really good dietary supplement. We cannot say that heals or cure, but helps. Right? So that helps with a lot of conditions. So if somebody is under the supervision of the physician, it's better that they say they are going to start taking the CBD, because the same way there is interactions between medications, there could be interactions between supplements and interactions between CBD and certain medications, because people that are taking antidepressants may have, for example, the same target that the CBD. So sometimes they are competing, could have antagonized or synergistic effect, synergistic or adding effect. So sometimes getting too much could be also harmful for the body. As I said, there is all kind of research more and more with the time about how CBD, cannabidiol is so important for our system. So for example, cannabidiol, as we know, is really important as a treatment for psychosis as well, and the kind of anxiety, panic attacks, hallucinations, things like that. And for me, one of the most important effects of cannabidiol, the CBD, is that it's able to control transcription, which means it's able to control from gene expression into protein. Transcription is we have our genes, our DNA, is passing to RNA and is passing to protein. That's how our body works. The CBD is able to control that, so at the gene level, which is a really, really important finding. And in this article in particular, they were testing different genes and they were using CBD or THC. They saw that CBD has a bigger effect than THC on transcription. And it was upregulating NRF2, which there's a lot of research about NRF2, is a transcription factor that binds to the DNA and then is inducing certain responses like antioxidant responses important for detoxification, or decreasing inflammatory responses, because the way our endocannabinoid system is working with inflammation is because it's decreasing having too much inflammation. It's controlling having too much inflammation, which could be harmful for your body. So what they have seen here is that CBD at the gene level was able to upregulate that sequence, was increasing glutathione system through this sequence, and was decreasing inflammatory cytokines, or was controlling excessive inflammation. And so this is for me really, really important, because you are not working on only at the protein level with receptors, you are working on transcription from the gene level. So this is a really important finding. So now we know we have cannabinoids, but some people have imbalanced cannabinoid system, so it's important to take a hemp oil. I would say could be a purified CBD oil, could be just a hemp oil. Usually they are called hemp oils because there is only one pharmaceutical company that has a synthetic CBD oil, and it's the one that has patented the name CBD oil. So the other ones have to be called hemp oil, even if they are higher in CBD, because that company has the patent. So, as I mentioned before, I'm really picky. I'm really, really picky with labels for food and labels for supplements. So I have a lot of clients who were asking me for CBD oil because they went online. Like, I get clients with fibromyalgia, severe neuropathies, a lot of pain, or people with insomnia as well, which could be a side effect of imbalance endocannabinoid system. Like all kind of disorder like that, even for PTSD, and they were asking me for CBD, but I never felt comfortable referring to any brands because I didn't really like labels. They were really dirty. They had a lot of fillers and a lot of things in the labels, and those things are also causing side effects in our body. So it's why I didn't really feel comfortable taking it myself and referring to anybody. Until now, this one, very new, just came out to the market. So I want to show you how this oil, which is called NanoEnhanced hemp oil, what is a NanoEnhanced hemp oil compared to other hemp oils. So this 99% of the cannabis that is grown in United States is genetically modified.
What?
Genetically modified, GMO. 99%. So I'm one of the persons that try not to put any GMO in our bodies because it has been also linked to many problems like colon cancer, for example. So I think GMO free is important, and the most of the CBDs in United States are isolated from plants that are GMO, genetically modified. So this hemp oil is GMO free because it's grown with a strain of cannabis that is 5,000 years old. It is grown organically in Europe, in Spain, and Switzerland. There's a lot of people that are able to isolate CBD or hemp oil and then put it in somebody's body. There's tons of people. There's even people that grow it in the garden and then they isolate the oil and then they take it. So they say, wow, so why do I have to buy this if I can make it myself, right? So tons of people can put it in somebody's body, but there is very few people in the world that can put it within the cell, not just within the body, because that's something really important. CBD has a really low absorption, really low. Only 10% of the CBD that we ingest orally is absorbed in the digestive tract. Only that. So there is people that buy 1,000 milligram CBD oil brand, but then from that, you may not be absorbing more than 10%, even less, if it's something that you are taking orally. So it's why it's really important to learn which kind of CBD oil we take, because it's an oil that is quite expensive. So we spend the money in something that is good. So Christopher Shade is a scientist in Colorado. He works at Quicksilver Scientific, and he designed the nanotechnology delivery, which is making 10 times more bioavailable this oil in our body than any other oils. And I'm going to explain to you more in detail what is the nanoparticle technology. But so the good thing about this oil, besides that it's GMO, organically grown, they test for all kind of bacteria contamination, they test for heavy metals contamination, which is also really common like I found in Hawaii. I could tell that 70% of the people coming to me has mercury contamination. So heavy metal contamination is really common in our population and causing a lot of trouble. And a lot of them not only come from fish or amalgams, it's coming from supplements and food. So it's why it's important that they test for heavy metals. So this CBD oil has 40% CBD, has 0.002 THC. As I said before, FDA is passing as legal in all 50 states when it has 0.3. This one has 0.002, which is minimal. It's really, really small. But beside that, what they are using is the whole plant. They're using all the aerial part of the plant that you see, that's what they're using to make this hemp oil. So, which means that beside having that, it's having many other beneficial components that have a synergistic effect in our health. Like for example, 30% of that plant is gonna be unsaturated fats, which I said is omega. And omega has also anti-inflammatory effect. So that's why taking the hemp oil itself is bringing you also a synergistic effect in a different way with many other components, besides the CBD. It has a CO2 extraction with no solvents, no chemical extraction as other CBD oils. And as I said, because it's really low in THC, the distribution is legal in all 50 states. The nanoparticle technology. So a lot of pharmaceutical industries and in science, they're using something that is called nanoparticles that are formed by liposomes. So this would be a liposome here. So what the liposomes are is a monolayer or a bilayer of lipids. fat. So our cells, the outside layer of the cells is lipids. If we put together water and oil, they don't merge, right? But if we put fat with fat, and oil with an oil, they merge. So it's why what they are doing to deliver certain active compounds that are not really, that the absorption is really low in our body, they are embedding the active compound inside the nanoparticle that is made with lipids. So in that way, so let's say this is the CBD, which this is also made with vitamin D3, which the absorption is really low, or they make it with turmeric, which also has a really short life in our body and is anti-inflammatory. So there are a lot of supplements that have this technology, and this is the only CBD oil that has this technology. So they are putting the CBD within the liposomal structure. So then when it's in contact with the cell, the lipids are gonna merge with the lipid membrane, and then the CBD is gonna be released within the cell because lipid with lipid merge. So this is one of the biggest advantage of this oil, and what makes this oil unique from the rest, the liposomal technology. And it's a nanoparticle. It has just 50 to 100 nanometers size, which is really tiny, and that makes the nanoparticle to be absorbed faster in our bloodstream through the vessel. So this is what is a liposome. So it has 97 to 100 times more absorption because of the liposomal technology compared to other oils. So we can compare this with an intravenous therapy, because usually when you inject something directly into the bloodstream, it doesn't have to go through the barrier of the digestive system and the liver detoxification, so you absorb faster that component. So we can compare this technology to an intravenous therapy, but it's oral. We put it under the tongue. We wait for 30 seconds because the nanoparticles are very small. They are gonna go really fast through the vessel wall into our bloodstream. Because what happens when you take something orally that has a really low absorption, when it gets into your digestive system, a lot of things could happen. Maybe that person has a lot of digestive issues and they are not absorbing food properly or the supplement. Also, maybe that active compound is too soluble in water or cannot be dissolved really well. Could be the two opposite situations. So in that way, it takes longer to be absorbed, and at some point it may not be absorbed. And whatever part is absorbed, that usually for the CBD is just the 10%, then it has to go through the liver. In the liver, part of it is still diluted again into water for detoxification, so it's gonna go in excretion. So at the end, from that huge amount of CBD that we will be taking or other supplement, we are not absorbing much. So these kind of active compounds that are not absorbed properly, it's better to use them using the nanoparticle technology, and this is the only company that have done this so far. So these have increased the absorption to 97 to 100% more than the regular CBD oil. So this is an example of different ways that we can ingest the CBD. This will be within how many minutes we can feel the effect, and it will be for how long we can feel the effect. So we see there are some inhaling, like vapors or tinctures, which usually come with some fillers that you don't want to have in there. Ingesting patches or gel, like topical, and the nanoparticles that I'm presenting here today. So these nanoparticles, we are able to absorb them and see an effect within 5 to 15 minutes compared to others that require more, and has an effect of 2 to 4 hours. Also, as I always say, it depends on whatever we are fighting to. There's people with really severe chronic pain that they really need to be taking the CBD oil continuously. But there's people that just with one dose or four pumps, which is one dose, they have enough for the whole day. Or there's people, because every person's body is different, we have a different way to detoxify and metabolize things. So there's people that they have to start slowly. They start just with one pump, because you can go from 1 to 4. and then they can keep increasing with the time. Because some people, if they metabolize faster or they absorb it better, with 1 pump or 2 is enough, and they don't need 4. So it always depends on the person. And with this graph, I want to show you a comparison that is published, the company have done between this CBD oil from Prime My Body, which is this company, compared to this pharmaceutical industry that has patented the CBD oil and is the most popular in the market. So here they were using 10 milligrams of that orally versus the 5 milligrams under the tongue with the nanoparticle technology. So as you can see, it's taking half of the dose that we would take with the one from the pharmaceutical company is 10 times, 6 to 10 times higher the absorption that we get compared to that one. So that is all based on the liposomal technology that makes this compound more bioavailable in our body. There just a few testimonials for some of my clients that are taking it for different reasons. Like I like to follow up and I say, oh, because I want to see how this oil is working, if it's really working. And so then I'm testing them. So this person has chronic pain. No, actually it was not a person that has chronic pain. This person, the coworker, has a chronic pain, and then he told me, I'm really tired of listening to this person complaining all the time, and his productivity is really low. It's working for him. So, so maybe you can get some hemp oil. So this person got a sample of the hemp oil for the coworker, and then I asked him, and he said, within minutes of taking the sample, my coworker feels much better, and he wants to buy the whole bottle. Right? So that was kind of funny. So for the PMSing that I said that I have it too, like a lot of people feel that when you start having the cramping and you take it because it's mostly pain, that can ameliorate the pain of those symptoms. Severe back pain. This is from an acupuncturist who had like serious problems with back pain for many, many years. And then she started taking this oil. She went to the emergency room. She got an MRI, all kind of things, and then of course they told her to have crazy painkillers and corticosteroids, all kind of things. And she said, no way, I'm gonna take that. And somebody introduced her to this oil. She started taking it, and after 4 days taking it, she said, I feel much better than I used to feel before. I started going to the gym again, like she really felt it fast. Or these are testimonials of 2 different people for knee pain. So this person is a trail runner who forced himself too much into a race, so his knee was in a lot of trouble for a few days. And he started taking the oil. He just took it a couple of days, but after 2 days the pain disappeared, which it was faster than usually taking other type of drugs that he was taking before. And this is a person who has Crohn's disease and many other related disorders to the Crohn's disease, like knee pain, for example. So the 4 droplets that this person was not the full 4 dropper, was 4 drops. That's what this person said. I gave this to my coworker. This person took 4 drops, and then almost immediately, like half hour later, he started feeling less pain. But I work with a lot of people with neuropathies, and in this kind of fields is where I really want to see how things disappear and are working. So this person had severe fibromyalgia for a long time. So she said, I'm not going to start taking the 4 pumps. I'm going to go slowly, because it's a person that usually have a lot of sensitivity to supplements, like reactions. And like I have a person who actually has headaches whenever they take the hemp oil as a side effect, so he has to start slowly. But this person with just 1 to 2 pumps of that hemp oil in the morning, she feels more energized, and then the fibro is recovering, is much better, and she's surfing and hiking again, which that's really, really nice. So yeah, today I just wanted to introduce you why do we need hemp oil, what is CBD, show you that we do have cannabinoids in our body. The problems come when they are in balance. And then if we have a problem like that, any of those disorders that I show you in there that are related to that, it would be beneficial to have some CBD oil as a supplement, dietary supplement every day. And particularly me, I started working with my clients with that oil, mostly because of the nanoparticle technology, the bioavailability, and how clean it is. And I think the product talks by itself, and I hope it can help a lot of people. Thank you very much.